Okay. So Manon is speaking French. She's speaking French, and she's talking to Valentina Shevchenko. She's not done, calling her out. She already sent a tweet to Shevchenko. I went over the tweet. Everybody's seen the tweet. She says, stop holding up the fight. Stop making people wait. Let's make the fight happen sooner than later so that I can beat you and move on. She said, so I can send you into retirement. Calling Shevchenko, that was a snide way of saying, hey, you're on a decline, you're falling apart, you're washed up, you're unimpressive. Now, the thing with that, Manon sort of has the clout to say that, if you ask me. Now, on this call out, she says, Valentina, it's time to come back from vacation. Stop fighting me on the PlayStation and come have a real fight. Now, Manon's trash talk is not good. I thought it was a good remark with the retirement. That was A-level stuff, but this is not quite up. It's not up to that level. That was a real good comment about sending Shevchenko into retirement. Good one. Right, but hey, your record speaks for you. Whether or not you have the clout to say what you say is all based on your performance. So that's what I look at. And with Manon, she has been in control of virtually all the fights that she's had in the UFC. Think about her fights. She really hasn't been in a tough spot. You never really seen her in a compromised position. Think about it now. Have we ever seen someone on top of Manon wailing away on her with her shelling up, covering up? Have we? Have we seen Manon taken down repeatedly like Shevchenko was against Taylor Santos? No. I mean, as I speak, we have not seen Manon compromised the way we've seen Shevchenko compromised. And what are we going to say? Well, Shevchenko is fighting the likes of Alexa Grasso. No, we can't say that. We can't say that. Same thing can be said for Taylor Santos. The two fighters that Shevchenko has in recent history has looked human against, vulnerable against, and actually has lost to. Many people thought she lost to Taylor Santos. She legitimately did lose and was stopped by Alexa Grasso, choked out. And before that stoppage, Grasso's knuckles was finding Shevchenko's face in a way we had never seen prior. Never really seen anybody knuckle up Shevchenko's grill like that. That was surprising. That was surprising. She tried to outbox Grasso in that first fight, and she was catching knuckles. That was not the same Shevchenko we were used to seeing. These are the facts. This is her showing vulnerability that we hadn't seen. She was all uncomfortable that whole fight. Talking about the first fight, and then, she looked flustered. Before she got choked out, she was looking very uncomfortable. That's why that spin kick was so ill-timed. Grasso wasn't in position for her to throw that. And got choked out and had to tap. That's a Shevchenko we'd never seen before. And then in the rematch, boy, every time I think about that rematch, I think of seeing her getting punched square in the face so hard she did a backflip. That's a Shevchenko I've never seen before. Listen, man, the Shevchenko I know, you don't land no punch on her at all. If you do, it's grazing. It's grazing. She's moving away as you landed, right? You brushing her. You're not really landing nothing. That's the Shevchenko I know. You go 5 rounds with Nunes and have Nunes not landed nothing. But that wasn't the case in that rematch. She was getting... That was a different Shevchenko. Put it like that. That wasn't the unbeatable, invincible Shevchenko. And again, she has looked vulnerable. And I know she's been through more. Shevchenko's experience vastly superior to Manon. She's had far more fights than Manon. She's been in the UFC longer than Manon. But all that matters is how you're doing now. If you're about to be matched up, I don't care what you've been through. I'm looking at what you looking like now. And right now, Shevchenko appears to be on a slight decline. Now, she had her best fight against Grasso in the third fight. That was her best performance against Grasso. Many people thought she also lost the rematch, including myself. But a lot of people were not impressed in that third fight, even though she won. Clearly won. A lot of people not impressed. A lot of fans disappointed. So Manon has a right, to not be impressed. It's sort of like she sort of has room to say some of the things that she said as far as send you into retirement. And it felt like it got under Shevchenko's skin. It got under Shevchenko's skin. You got to remember, Shevchenko is extremely competitive. And Shevchenko herself has looked at her record and squinted her eyes in disappointment at these recent struggles where it was not complete domination. Y'all got to remember, listen, man, I'm going to remember everything any and every fighter say. And if it ever becomes relevant down the line, I'm bringing it back up. Shevchenko is the one fighter who has always talked about and always prided herself on complete domination of her opponents. Complete domination. And she has not enjoyed complete domination in this tail end of her career. She has seen that and has squinted her eyes at that in disappointment. This split decision here, this face crank submission loss here, this draw split that many people thought was a loss here, and this almost, now her striking didn't impress me in the third fight, because in the majority of exchanges in all three fights, I felt like Shevchenko won the majority of exchanges anyways. I didn't see anything new. The difference was Grasso was having her moments. Even though she may have been outstruck, she was actually able to land on Shevchenko. That is what was surprising. And in some moments, Grasso won the exchanges on the feet. I mean, she teeing off on Shevchenko. And again, we haven't seen Shevchenko teeing off on Grasso like that, where she landed flurries, multiple punch combinations, got her compromised, pinned down in a humiliated position, curled up, helpless, defenseless on the floor, getting beaten on, getting your face beaten on. And now, all of a sudden, we got all these photos and images of Shevchenko getting beaten on. Taylor Santos and Alexa Grasso has changed Valentina's world. Right? They've altered her reality. No more utter domination, or at least not in those fights. So the question going forward is it realistic for her to continue on this, or to pick up and continue to be utterly dominant? How likely is that? At age 36, after already having shown vulnerabilities, already been choked out and compromised, how likely is it? At 36, about to be fighting fighters younger, fresher, hungrier, possibly as well. And remember, now in the top 5 is Natalia Silva. And I would take her over Macy Barber if they make that fight, which they should. And as I speak, I don't think Macy wants that fight at all. Macy, I think you're going to try to run from that fight if they ever try to make, because ain't no other fight to make. Aaron's about to fight Grasso. Manon about to fight Valentina. You know that. Who you want to fight Rose now? You want to rebook that fight? No. Rose need to fight down. She's been taking too many L's. Somebody needs to challenge. It's time for somebody to challenge Rose for her spot. Nobody's around but you and Natalia Silva. So what you say? What you got to say? Now, if she whooped Macy, listen, man, I don't know what happens. Natalia Silva against Valentina. I don't know what happens no. And listen, Blanchfield's still there. We don't know what's going to happen. Nobody expected Grasso to give Shevchenko a hard time like this. Why should we assume that nobody else will give her the exact same type of hard time? At the very least. I don't know. From this seat, it just looks likely, highly likely, that Shevchenko is going to run into adversity again. Put it like that. But good for Manon. She's doing a little trash talk. This is always good. But I still think Shevchenko need to retire. Get up on out of here. Do what John Jones doing. Don't stick around to fight these young fighters. Because look at here. I don't care how great you are. I think the best pound for pound fighter ever to ever live is Demetrius Johnson. But if Demetrius Johnson fights as a much older man, late 30s, early 40s, he's going to lose by some of these younger, fresher, up and coming fighters. That's just how it is. It's an inevitable demise. Why stick around for that? You know, nobody beats Father Time. Nobody. So it's not about her, being less than or not good enough for these other fighters. You got to always factor momentum, age, wear and tear, and stuff like that. It just looks to me like it's about that time for Shevchenko, but we'll see. Manon has a very dominant style that puts her, where she doesn't have to deal with nothing. Remember, Rose tried to take her down. Several fighters tried to take her. Ain't nobody been able to muscle her, take her down, or nothing like that. I think Maya kind of did semi, and so did Rose, but it wasn't really nothing. She popped right back up. You can't muscle the chick around, and she manages to win striking exchanges with everybody. Think about that. I don't think she gets enough credit. She's went up against Aaron, Rose, Caitlin, respected striker. This woman is only used to dominating. She is currently doing what Shevchenko has prided herself on, complete domination. And Shevchenko has no problem winning by decision and bragging that it was complete domination. So, look, man, I'm enjoying the trash talk. Hopefully, Manon continues to go at Valentina. Like I said, this is something new for me because not long ago, everybody was scared of Shevchenko. The whole flipping division. Stop playing. You have some new fighters, some young fighters. But the fighters who were in position to fight Shevchenko was silent. Straight up silent. And it was so bad that I was like, man, just forget about the flyweight. I didn't want to pay it no attention. It was all about the strawweight division. Who cares, man? The fighters, she was beating up everybody and didn't nobody want to fight her. It's crazy. So this is new. Girls are going at her, and we'll see if it has an effect on Shevchenko or if it gives these girls any type of edge. But listen, man, Shevchenko, if Zhang beats Suarez or whoever she fights next, if she possibly exhausts her options, that's a kind of crazy fight for Shevchenko. Why wouldn't we see Zhang as just about as dangerous of a fighter or opponent for Shevchenko as Grasso? And remember, just like Grasso, Grasso came from strawweight. At 125, I don't think Zhang would look fat or pudgy. She looked just as muscular as Alexa Grasso at 125. And I would imagine just as strong comparatively. That's a crazy fight for Shevchenko. But look, if Shevchenko wants to fight and do what John Jones is not willing to do, I'm entertained. I have no complaints. I'm just, kind of surprised that Shevchenko's willing to go through with it. Okay, she's confident. We'll see how much longer and how many more opponents she wants to fight. But that Natalia Silva chick looks dangerous, man. Both of those Silvas. Okay, now let's get into these fights. Let's get into these fights. fights this weekend because they're kind of crazy. Both of them. I'm going to say both of them. I think they're scheduled for this weekend, right? Karine Silva against Viviane Araújo. No matter who is the opponent of Araújo, I'm always worried or, consider the possibility that they lose. I think Viviane is good enough to slap on a submission on somebody or hit them and hurt them and knock them out. Okay? Especially early in fights, her strength is not that bad. Her power is not that bad early in fights. She does all that skipping and hopping around, though. I don't know if that's the smartest way to fight Karine Silva. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to see all undefeated fighters hold on to their undefeated streak until they get a title shot. That's more entertaining for me. I like when the challenger to the belt is undefeated. That maximizes the intrigue. But that's difficult for any fighter to do. We saw Erin make it up there. She wasn't able to pull it off. We'll see if the two Silvas can pull it off. Karine Silva now has a challenge, just like Silva recently had a challenge. We'll see if she can pull it off. I'm going to take Karine Silva. Viviane, we all know how she is. She get in that second round, she's dead tired. But Viviane is strong. She's very strong. Y'all seen her take fighters down, lift them up, clean off their feet, dump them down. Don't know if that's the smartest thing to do with Karine Silva. But I don't count Viviane out at all. I don't know about anybody else. I don't count her out. Right? Now, I think Mora is fighting this weekend, right? Mora is going to fight Veronica Hardy. That's a crazy fight. I don't remember that fight being made. I don't remember that matchup being made. So I don't know when it was made. It just doesn't trigger my memory. I've been knowing about Viviane against Karine Silva for a while now, ever since it was announced. But man, that's a difficult fight for Mora. Now she's lost already. She's already lost her undefeated streak. Let's take a look at her record here. She's still dangerous, but it's hard to hit Hardy. Remember that chick, Veronica Hardy, probably has the best legs in that division. Okay? She moves around as if she's floating on air. Veronica Hardy. It's like she's flying in there. Like floating around the cage. So Eduardo Mora, I can see her just not throwing much because she's looking for the chick. And possibly getting hit in the process. It seems like it'll be that type of fight where Mora is chasing her and moving and constantly getting hit, maybe some leg kicks or whatever. Veronica is fast. She's lightning fast. I mean, look at her fight. It's like she's like a little Demetrius Johnson in there. Mora just lost to Denise Gomez. I'm taking Veronica Hardy, man. Put it like that. I'm taking Veronica Hardy. But I give Mora a chance. That's a tough chick. She's a tough chick. Right? Now, if I'm not mistaken, since Veronica's come back, she's been looking better at age 29. And it's worth pointing out because before she came into the UFC, I mean, she came into the UFC off of a draw. Who does that? She came into the UFC prematurely. Okay, prematurely. Then had 3 straight losses. Not fighting that much. Lost in 2016. Didn't fight again until 2018. One fight in 2018. Then fought 2019. Lost again. 3 consecutive losses. And lost to Gillian Robertson. Got choked out. Nobody thought she'd be, some noteworthy opponent. No formidable opponent. She beats Poliana Viana. Loses to Bia Malecki. That was a bantamweight bout. I believe this is at, right? Isn't this at flyweight? Come on. All right, now WMMA rankings is slipping. Excuse me. Oh, no, they're not. No, I'm slipping. Sorry about that. It is a flyweight bout. All right, shout out to the WMMA rankings. They on point. Flyweight. So Veronica's at a lower weight class. So she's looking like a new fighter. Right? That's what it is. So I'm taking her. She's on a 3-fight win streak. She's 29. Understand around that age is when you reach your prime. You're in your prime years as a fighter, around that age. Okay? You're finally starting to master your craft. Taking Veronica Hardy. Now, speaking of that, Gillian Robertson. Now, I got all 3 of my predictions right this past weekend. I didn't make videos, but I made a post. I picked Mullins, Gillian Robertson, Denise Gomez. They all won, but Gillian Robertson made a comment after the fight. She was talking about how disappointed she was in her performance. Disappointed in her performance. Melissa Mullins tries to break dance. Okay, that's just worth looking at. Even as cringe as it is. I mean, if you're gonna do it, man, do it good. It is. Okay, all right. And she received her black belt, right? Received her black belt inside the cage. But Gillian Robertson, do you know why she said that? Do you know why she said that? She said in a post-fight interview how disappointed she was in her performance. And then post-fight presser, she continued talking about how disappointed she was in her performance. Why did she say that? I haven't heard anybody point this out. She said that because this is the first time she's had 2 consecutive decision victories. You got to remember, these fighters are extremely competitive. They look at everything. Gillian has never in her career won 2 consecutive bouts by decision, ever. Every time she's gotten a decision victory, it's almost like she's disappointed and stops her next opponent. Look at this. Decision, submission. loss, submission, 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 TKO, submission, decision, submission, 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 decision, decision. She saw that. And she wanted that streak to continue. She don't want no decision streak. That's why she was saying that. And listen, I got to tilt my hat to that. I like to hear stuff like that. She's pushing herself. And I feel like she, this is the best she's ever looked. Poliana Viana, Michelle Watterson, now Pinero. It's the best she's ever looked. Now I don't like how she looks in there. I don't like the way, this is funny. That look right there. Gillian Robertson looked flat in the cage. She looked flat and light. I know she kind of strong, but Pinero was strong. That's why she couldn't stop her. Now, a couple times she took her back. I thought she was going to choke her out. Maybe she had opportunity and missed it or whatever. And that's why she's a bit disappointed with herself. But Gillian in there at 115 looks very flat and light. So, man, I suspect she might get overpowered at some point, and we might see sort of a repeat of what we saw against Taylor Santos. But I don't know. I don't know what her body is like. It seems like 115 is a real low weight for her. And that once she get down to 115, one day is not enough for her to fill out well. You see, at 115, after she makes weight, gets a few meals inside her, water and all of that, she still hasn't filled out yet. She's still low on muscle glycogen. She just hasn't really filled out yet. You could clearly see. Just look at her Instagram. In between fights, she has hips and buttocks. In that cage, her hips are gone. Her butt is gone. Which tells me she has, that's just a low weight. It's a low weight, a mighty low weight for her. And I'm wondering if she is as strong comparatively at 115 as she was at 125. But, you really can't complain. Pinero has always shown good physical strength. Okay, and for her to have, some extent of success against Pinero, it should reflect well on her. But, I don't know. When she fights, it's like you get worried for her. I mean, she's small like a toothpick. But she's constantly going after opponents like she's full of confidence. But the thing is, she's 29 years old. Y'all got to remember, Gillian Robertson is in that prime age. And she's on a 3-fight win streak at that prime age. And you can hear it in the things she's saying. She's looking at the little finite things. And being on a 2-fight decision win streak, she looks at as a slight decline. I'm slipping. So we'll see how she looks in the next fight, because this should be insane motivation for her. The stars have aligned. Okay? You've set a record for yourself, sort of like Chukagian, her record of what was her record? The most decisions ever or something like that. You know, it's not a proud record that you want to break. So that should serve as motivation to come back in your next fight, guns blazing. Now, Denise Gomez is a strange fighter to me. I've not really figured out her style or nothing. She just seems like a fighter who attacks her opponent. That's it. She just launches attacks. They'll be in combination or whatever. I don't know why. This just happens sometimes. I don't know why. Sometimes I just get a loose grasp on a fighter's style. It's kind of frustrating. And I'm kind of binge watching her fights. But I haven't been able to put it into words or break it down in a comfortable way for myself yet. I'm still in the process of doing that. Another thing. Here pretty soon, I'm going to upload a video where there's some tension in the air. So entertainment is about to take a wild turn here in a minute. Just be prepared for that. I like to come to this channel and stay laid back, kick back, and that's pretty much what it's for. But every now and then, I got to do some straightening. So just a fair warning and a heads up. All right, so that'll do it for this live stream. I will see y'all on the next.